Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today. In the top left, it's going to be Eris, the top bot playing Zerg. And in the bottom right, we have got TyrT. TyrT, very fun to watch Terran bot, known for its pushes mainly. Likes to build up a big old Terran army, go for a nice tank push. That seems to be its standout play. Whereas Eris is a bot that tends to just play the macro game and doesn't win a lot of games before it's hit 200 supply, which is very impressive. So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoy these bot casts, you guys are the best at it. Make sure to go ahead and click that like button. Just give it a little slap. Cool Thor warping on in over there. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Join the Discord, which is linked down below. And consider becoming a YouTube member if you do want to support the channel. Oh yeah, I forgot to say. Also, scream into the comment section. Whatever you comment does help with the YouTube algorithm. Put your grocery list in the comments. It doesn't matter to me. But yeah, we do have Tyr opening up with a Reaper. Going to be a Reaper expand. Tyr is a bot that notably goes for just like a Reaper scout. It doesn't try and get any drones, I believe. Eris going for 3 hatchery. And yeah, now we've got Command Center on the way for Tyr. I will say the timing on it's a little interesting. I think it's not adapted for speed mining, potentially. Tyr actually, I think it could have got the CC up a little bit faster because it had like 500 minerals at some point. So maybe it could start that before it starts the orbital. I do not know. Anyway, the bot author of Tyr was nice enough to comment on my previous video that Tyr actually does speed mine. However, it abandons that later on in the game. I guess worker management becomes a problem or something. So that's why the timings of most bot games look a little bit off to anyone that follows the pro scene, as the bots have a little bit more resources, or a little bit more minerals anyway than human players do. Now, we do have Tyr going for a reactor. Going to land that factory on there, potentially make some Hellions. It's got a single Marine guarding the door. However, Eris is a bot that just strictly macros. So, if you guys wanted to queue up against Eris using the ES Champ tools that let you play versus the bots, which is very fun to do, by the way, you could probably get away with like 4 CC first or something against Eris, because it doesn't really attack. And that's the benefit of knowing your opponent. Know your opponent bot. And of course, those rules can be a little bit different when it comes to the ES Champ Pro Bots tournament, which is the biggest, well, really the only bots tournament that goes on, and that forces the bot authors to adapt a lot, because there's a lot of sniping and builds that you can do to hide and that kind of thing. Like pro players do in tournaments, bot authors prepare their bots for that. Tyr does go for the 3rd command center on location, so trying to keep that strong macro going. It's dropping mules, made some Hellions, and now it's got a Liberator on the way, so potentially going to try and poke Eris a little bit as it just continues its build-up into making all the bio. 3 Hellions are moving across the map. We'll see if they dive on in or if the Queens rebuff them. Looks like the Queens will rebuff them. That's no surprise there. It's very difficult, I imagine, to program a bot that will go for a Hellion dive to try and get drones, particularly when you're up against like machine-like splitting. If you're a Terran player who's not at the pinnacle of the ladder like me, you can dive Hellions and sometimes get like 20 drones in a game, which is nice. However, that is not the case in a lot of these games. So we do have a medivac on the way for Tyr. It's just making a single Marine, so I'm wondering what the Medivac's for. I guess just to heal up the little bit of bio it has. It's not like it's got an armory and is going for a Hellbat timing or anything like that. Still, it's just trying to keep the pressure on its opponent with those Hellions. Liberator's moving across the map as well. And we are seeing Eris say, Eris Ling Harass. So it is going to go for a little bit of Ling Harassment. Eris is not 100% defensive, but it does sometimes it does not go for that much harassment. A couple of Lings are out on the map. Lots of them have ran out to scout. We got Lings running all over the place, burrowing all over the place. And then a scan goes down for Tyr. I'm not sure what that was to see. I wish we did get scans revealed on the minimap. Now, lots of drones. Liberator. So the Liberator may have scanned the main base to get those drones. Drones transferring. Do get killed. The Liberator gets 8 kills. Denies some mining time as well. And now Tyr still just powering up. We'll see if it's still speed mining. It looks like the speed mining has ended. Yeah. Now Tyr starting to pump out that bio. It has Stimpack done. No combat shield just yet. Defending its third base from that small Ling run by of Eris. Eris has got a fourth base on the way now. 1-1 on the way for both these bots. And Tyr's just going to start building up that big old Terran army for a push. And SCV is just hanging out slacking, wants to build a barracks. And now tanks are starting to roll off the line. And that really is Tyr's biggest strength, I'd say, is the siege tanks. The siege tanks of Tyr are so darn good because against Zerg because they can kill units that would usually burrow pretty darn quickly. And then the splash damage, of course, is very good against those units that can burrow too. If you SCVs want to heal up this one Hellion, the urge to heal, the urge to repair. Lings for Eris are coming on in once again, though. Going to try and get a little bit of denied mining time, and they shall do that, as the SCVs have no choice but to run away. Tyr's producing 8 Marines at a time. Got 1-1, about to finish up. So does Eris, though. And currently the Terran bot is down on supply by a little bit, so we'll see if it's gonna go for that attack sooner or later. Armory's on the way for Tyr. That's gonna allow it to start researching 2-2. Eris already has that +2 attack on the way. Probably gonna be +2 Carapace soon enough. 5th base on the way for the Zerg. Creep is spreading. Evolved Spines being researched. Eris is making a lot of roaches, potentially getting ready for an attack, as it will hit that 200 supply mark, which is usually the trigger for the best bot to attack on in. Tyr, however, is also moving out, so these two armies may clash in the middle of the map. As, yeah, those Hellions do transform into Hellbats. The bio is stimming as Eris attacks on in. The tanks are a little bit late to siege on up. However, the bio is buffering for them well. The Medivacs are healing this bio up. A good scan goes down as well, preventing those units from burrowing to stay alive. And the 3 tanks do get a lot of shots off, so that was not the best fight there for Eris. Tyr's going to continue to push on in. The bio stimming, the Medivac's healing it up. Tyr's actually lost some SCVs on its side of the map, however, so that's a pretty big blow to its economy, so it does need to get some damage done. The tanks are sieging up once more, though, shelling absolutely everything, and the Marines are buffering for them, preventing the roaches from just picking them off. These tanks are putting out a lot of damage. +1 is also on the way for them. Tyr is coming on in with a big push, shelling the hatchery now. The 3rd base is mining once more. Reinforcements coming in for Tyr. The roaches for Eris are trying to close the distance on top of this, but so far the Zerg is just trickling into the siege tanks once more. That hatchery does die. We're even seeing Tyr add in Marauders now as well, which will do even better against the roaches. The Terran is moving up with these siege tanks, gonna scan, get more of these tanks set on up, and it's actually heading towards the Zerg's natural, so Eris really needs to pool up enough units to defend this. The Zerg bot has got an Infestor on the way. It does get good fungals off occasionally, Scan goes down. Roaches do pick off one of the siege tanks, or two of the tanks, actually, I believe, have died. No, just one, pardon me. TyrT's constantly pushing on in. Medivacs are keeping this bio nice and healed. We do see a big fungal go down for Eris on this army. I'm going to have to zoom out, pardon me, to observe this. The bio is still trying to buffer here, but TyrT's reinforcements seem to be getting delayed a little bit, as there has to be a scan used on its side of the map to try and kill some burrowed roaches. One of those roaches gets away, so Eris's harassment is being pretty darn effective. We're noticing a distinct lack of reinforcements for the Terran's push coming here. And this one roach is being a nuisance, can just burrow. TyrT's not got optimal SCV saturation, as it had a lot in its main base, I believe, just running from the harassment. The push is still going on, but a lack of reinforcements looks like it may just be running out of stuff right now, as yeah, all but one of the siege tanks have fallen, and a good surround from Eris is going to clean this up. The tank goes down, so the bio is no longer there, or the bio no longer has something to really defend. The medivacs for TYR are also a little bit lost at sea, not really having anything to heal, so they're kind of just dancing around. The third base is getting harassed by the mutas once again. We don't see mutas in every single game, but they seem to be pretty effective here. And now TYR is on the defensive, but it doesn't have a lot of units. Its production has really been stifled. There is a tank sieging on up to try and defend, but the Zerg is coming on in. The tank is going to zone these roaches out a little bit. But the problem is the economy for TYR is just terrible compared to Eris. The supply is half that of the Zerg. And if you guys watched the previous TYR versus Eris game, I think we can see what the differences were, in that TYR actually took some counter harassment by Eris that really did delay the reinforcements, or just prevent any reinforcements, because the SCVs were running around a lot this game instead of mining. And then the Hellions didn't quite get as much done at the start of the game as they did in the previous match. So we can see how there's variation in these bot games between maps, between just different matches. There's a degree of chance when it comes to these bot games, much like a human Starcraft 2 game. But yeah, great to see, and big thanks to everyone for tuning into this one. Make sure to click that like button if you made it all the way to the end of this video. If you're not subscribed, do so, as this is the home for SC2 bot games on YouTube. I think it's safe to say this one tank is getting some of the greatest tank shots off I've ever seen. Unfortunately, it shall not be enough. He goes down to Sergeant, but he shall go down regardless. And yeah, thanks so much to everyone for supporting the channel. Leave a comment. Consider becoming a YouTube member if you do want to support the channel. You can press that join button down below, or use the link in the description. Yeah, and it's cool to see the variation in these bot games. It's not like they're scripted in that every bot game is the exact same. No, a lot of these bots do have some degree of chance to them, like, and those little things compound and give us different games a lot of the time. So that's great to see. TYR is no longer on land. It is not GG'd. There's the GG. And that is going to be that. Thanks so much to everyone for tuning in.